Thank you, Mr. President. Regret, guilt, shame, remorse. I have 100 words to describe the way that I've been feeling since last summer's shootings. You see, I grew up around guns. I got them as birthday presents. I'd spend every weekend going trap shooting with my grandpa and my mom and my stepdad. I mean, I have guns hanging on my wall, 6 of them in my boyhood home. I was just home for my grandpa's funeral. They're still there, hanging on my wall. I used to go hunting with my family. I cherish those memories with them. I represent the most rural district in the state of Minnesota. I represent the Northwoods, for God's sakes. That's why I felt so conflicted on this issue since last summer, and the compounding violence that we continue to see in this state. From the shooting of Melissa Hortman and her husband in their home, to our good friend John Hoffman and his wife and daughter, to the federal overreach that occurred in our streets and innocent lives that have been lost. That's the conflict that has been inside of me. After the Annunciation shooting, my mom called me. She told me that my 8- and 5-year-old cousins were there at Annunciation. I talked to their mom, my cousin Rachel. She told me the story about how her son apologized to her for tripping while running down the stairs so as not to get shot. Apologized to his own parents for not running fast enough away from the bullets. Think about that. This is the same family that grew up hunting with me, the same family that cherishes their guns, and they have faced this catastrophe. Regret, guilt, and shame, remorse. It shouldn't take a personal experience that I have in order for me to have the courage to do something. But that's the reality that I'm living with. That it took a personal experience for me to have the courage to do something. But families across the country have been dealing with gun violence, with school shootings, with mass shootings, with political violence for decades. And politicians continue to do nothing in the face of this violence. We can and we should do something. It's not going to fix everything. It's not going to solve all the issues. It's not a silver bullet, forgive my pun, for solving these issues, but it's something. It moves us in the direction of saving kids' lives. I have a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old myself. One of the hardest things that I had to do was talk to my kids after I had a friend and colleague who was shot inside her home. After I had a friend who survived a shooting inside his home because he saw the news, he saw my wife and I's reaction. We had to tell him, right? But how do you have that conversation with a 5-year-old who sees guns on TV and in video games and sees that they're kind of fun, who knows that I have guns in Grandpa and Grandma's home that are hanging on the wall? How do I have that conversation? And then, how do I follow up that conversation with him after an Annunciation shooting where his own cousins were shot at? How do you have that conversation with your kid? It's not the way the world should be, but it's the reality that we live in. And I refuse to have another conversation with my kids if I don't do something more. I refuse it because I can't look them in the eye and not do something. Look, I said it before, but I represent the most rural district in the state. I represent northern Minnesota. I have a responsibility and a commitment to my constituents who cherish their guns, who cherish their outdoor recreation, who cherish the hunting that they do with their kids and grandkids. And I know that my constituents, just like me and my family, are responsible gun owners and want nothing more than for their kids and young people to be safe. And that's why I've worked with Senator Muhammad, the author on this bill, to make this bill work for constituents like mine. We raised the magazine threshold so that it doesn't capture some commonly used handguns. We focused the restrictions on the point of sale so that future sales don't happen, but that existing gun owners don't get impacted. We scaled back so that local law enforcement, who I had many conversations with, don't be put in the impossible position to go inside someone's home and confiscate the guns. That is the common sense work that I did with Senator Muhammad. And there is absolutely no reason why someone in this body can't support this package that addresses gun safety, that addresses school safety funding, that addresses mental health. How many times have we heard it that we have to address mental health, we have to address school safety, we have to look at a holistic approach? That's what this bill does, and it's a common sense way to do it that I've had my eye on with the author. Because I made one thing clear. If we're going to do this, it has to be a package that actually addresses the issue and actually takes a holistic approach to violence that we are seeing far too often in our communities. You know, in 2023, we did some gun safety legislation as well. We passed a red flag law. Not a single person across the aisle joined us on that legislation. And I will tell you, it saved lives. It saved lives in my community. There was a gentleman in a bar threatening to shoot up a local school in Duluth. And the red flag was raised by an individual who overheard it, and those kids' lives were saved. This work matters. Kids' lives are saved when we make the tough political decisions to take a stand and demand that we can do better. I'm asking my colleagues across the aisle, if I can do it, then you should too. You should too, because we know that lives can be saved. So, Mr. President, I will never forget the feeling of having that conversation with my kids, not once, not twice, but 3 times now. And I will never do it again until I take action. So please, colleagues, I am begging you, join us in this effort, do the right thing, let's address gun violence and make sure that not another kid is impacted by gun violence in the state of Minnesota. Thank you.